The morning of the wedding arrived wrapped in sunlight and certainty. Emily Carter woke before her alarm, her heart already racing not from doubt, but from anticipation. This was the day everything finally made sense. The day the chaos of her 20s, the half-finished relationships, the almost love stories all collapsed into one clean line leading forward. She stood in the hotel bathroom, staring at her reflection as makeup artists fluttered around her like nervous birds. White silk hung from her shoulders. Her phone buzzed on the counter, face down. She didn't check it. Across town, Daniel Brooks sat alone in his childhood bedroom, still wearing sweatpants, the suit untouched on the bed. The room smelled faintly of old books and cedar. His mother had insisted he get ready there for grounding, she said, but Daniel understood now that grounding only worked if the ground beneath you was real. He stared at his phone. The screen showed a message thread he had memorized over the past 3 weeks. He no longer read the words. He felt them, the way a tongue finds a missing tooth. Last night meant more than it should have. I'll miss you when this is over. He doesn't suspect anything. Daniel exhaled slowly. 3 years earlier, Emily had felt like clarity. She laughed easily, spoke passionately about work, loved with intensity that made Daniel feel chosen in a world that rarely chose anyone gently. He was an engineer, measured, precise, someone who believed that honesty was not just a virtue, but a structure. If you built on it, the building stood. He had trusted her completely. The first crack had been small. A business trip that didn't align with her calendar. A phone turned face down during dinner. A name, Michael, that surfaced too often and was dismissed too quickly. Daniel hadn't confronted her. Not at first. He told himself what good men always tell themselves. Asterisk, don't be paranoid. Don't be controlling. Trust her. Asterisk, then, 3 weeks before the wedding, a notification appeared on his shared tablet, an accident of synchronization. A message preview. 14 words. Enough to collapse a future. He had read everything after that in silence. Photos. Voice notes. Plans made between hotel rooms and stolen afternoons. The affair wasn't impulsive. It was curated. And worst of all, it was ongoing. Daniel dressed carefully that morning. Each movement deliberate. The suit fit perfectly. The ring felt heavier than it should have. By the time he arrived at the venue, a restored vineyard wrapped in white linens and optimism, Emily's guests were already seated. Laughter floated through the air. Someone adjusted roses along the aisle. A string quartet rehearsed a love song older than any of them. Emily stood behind the doors, bouquet trembling slightly in her hands. Her bridesmaids told her she looked radiant. She believed them. Michael sat in the third row, left side, wearing a gray suit he had chosen specifically not to stand out. He told himself he was there for closure, that seeing her married would finally end things. But his hands betrayed him. When the music shifted and Emily began her walk, Daniel watched her with a calm that unsettled even him. She looked beautiful, genuinely, devastatingly beautiful. For a moment, a traitorous part of him wished he could forget everything. But truth, once learned, does not unlearn itself. The ceremony progressed smoothly. Words about destiny, commitment, forever. Daniel answered when spoken to. He smiled when required. His pulse remained steady. Then came the question. The ancient pause disguised as tradition. If anyone here has reason these two should not be joined, I do. The word landed like dropped glass. Emily turned sharply. Her smile fractured but didn't fully break. Daniel, she laughed softly. Stop. You're scaring me. He stepped forward, gently taking the microphone from the officiant. His voice carried not loud, not angry. Controlled. I didn't want to do this, he said. I wanted you to choose honesty. You didn't. Whispers erupted. Emily's mother stood halfway out of her seat. Daniel unlocked his phone. I found out about Michael 3 weeks ago, he continued. I waited. I watched. I hoped you'd end it. He lifted his gaze and met Michael's. You didn't. Emily's bouquet slipped slightly in her grip. This isn't real, she whispered. You're misunderstanding, Daniel turned the screen outward. Photos enlarged. Dates visible. Messages unmistakable. The air thickened. Someone gasped. Someone else muttered a curse. Michael stood abruptly. This isn't the place, No, Daniel said quietly. This is exactly the place. Emily's knees trembled. Tears welled, not the graceful kind. Please, she said, reaching for Daniel. Let's talk privately. Not like this. Daniel stepped back. For 3 years, I defended you in rooms you weren't in. he said. I trusted you when it cost me my instincts. I won't protect a lie anymore. He removed the ring and placed it on the altar. I don't object because I don't love you, he said. I object because I finally love myself more. Silence followed, the kind that rewrites memory. Daniel turned and walked down the aisle alone. The doors opened. Sunlight spilled in, indifferent and warm. Behind him, the wedding unraveled. Emily collapsed into sobs. Guests avoided each other's eyes. Michael slipped out the side exit. Already erased from the future he thought he'd been stealing. Outside, Daniel